Inevitable Enlightenment, Part 3. We're wondering what civilization was like in the last epochal day on Earth. A large body of information exists on this prehistorical time period. Ancient texts, cave art, ancient artifacts, and geological data all provide evidence of sophisticated civilizations on Earth before 6000 BC. Inspired German-Canadian researcher Carol Sagan, author of The Key to Ancient Records, tracked accounts from over 60 ancient sources attesting to prehistoric civilizations with sophisticated social cultures and advanced scientific technologies. For example, 2,000 years ago, Plato, Hesiod, and Ovid recorded information originating in Egyptian and Greek records dating from the 17th and 18th millennia BC that described an ancient civilization characterized by harmony, abundance, advanced knowledge, peace, and creativity. A golden age that existed in many parts of the world, including India, Tibet, France, Spain, and the Americas. These golden age civilizations were led by gifted, highly educated, and inspired people, often referred to as high priests, giants, or gods. These civilizations were very different from ours, but they were definitely not savage or primitive as we've been led to believe. Plato wrote about the Golden Age in one of his dialogues. He said, "At that time there was no violence, nor war or quarrel among the people." And he added, "I might tell you of 10,000 other blessings which belong to that dispensation." According to many ancient scientists, another golden age is inevitable. The Hindu texts called the Vedas, meaning knowledge and wisdom, are a large body of texts originating in India, dated from 1500 to 1000 BC. According to Hindu tradition, the Vedas are divinely inspired. That is, their knowledge and wisdom was directly revealed to gifted seers. The interpretation of the Vedas presented here comes from visionary and Vedic scholar Robert E. Cox in his book The Pillar of Celestial Fire and the Lost Science of the Ancient Seers. Cox says the Vedas reveal that the scientific basis for the cyclical rise and fall of civilizations is the level of invisible, luminous, subtle matter, or life force energy present on Earth at any given time. Luminous subtle matter is familiar to us by another name. It's known as Qi, electromagnetic life force in the Taoist tradition, and also known as prana, or life force, in the Vedic tradition. Qi is the universal energy that enlivens everything. And the Vedas say that the level of Qi in our solar system is directly related to Earth's level of collective consciousness, or collective awareness. According to the Vedas, collective consciousness is the total of all forms of individual awareness on the Earth, all humans as well as the elementary awareness of all the minerals, plants, and animals. This vast collection of individual beings forms a single planetary consciousness, the collective consciousness or collective awareness of Mother Earth. We're part of it. The Vedas teach that the collective consciousness of Mother Earth rises and falls according to the density of Qi. So if Earth's collective awareness rises and falls with a density of Qi, two questions arise. What determines the density of Qi? And what is an Earth civilization like when there's a high density of Qi? We'll address this second question first. When the density of Qi is strongest, we have a golden age with high levels of consciousness. For example, expanded knowledge and inspiration, miracles, control over natural forces, what we sometimes think of as godly powers. And when there's a low density of Qi, we have a dark age, when the connection between spiritual and material is weak, and the collective consciousness is dominated by the mental, physical, and material side of life. Light or dark? awake or asleep, inspired or depressed. According to the Vedas, the quality of the civilization depends on the level of chi. And once again, chi is electromagnetic life force. So, to summarize the Vedic perspective, low electromagnetic life force in our solar system results in a low level of collective awareness on Earth, and this leads to a civilization in collapse. Now we'll return to the other important question: what regulates the level of chi on our planet? According to the Vedas, periodic celestial events regulate the amount of chi reaching us. The universe is one big integrated energy system. The upcoming alignments, Earth's wobble, our depleted magnetic shield, all of these are aspects of the celestial events affecting our solar system. These photos of a coronal mass ejection on the left and an asteroid on the right were taken by the Hubble telescope. A coronal mass ejection, a CME for short, is like a giant volcano erupting on the sun's surface. Earth is being bombarded with exceptionally powerful celestial energies these days, from CMEs, solar flares, and asteroids from our own sun, as well as from magnetars or neutron stars from beyond our solar system. A solar flare hurtles a North American-sized chunk of the sun's surface into the air with the energy of more than 1 million volcanoes. Most people are unaware of this intensifying space weather. It rarely makes headlines. NASA describes space weather as the conditions on the sun, the solar wind, and in the various layers of our atmosphere that can influence spaceborne and ground-based technological systems and can endanger human life or health. As well as Earth's magnetosphere declining, scientists are also now discovering anomalies in the heliosphere, the magnetic bubble around our whole solar system. In October 2009, NASA's IBEX satellite discovered a ribbon of energy, the bright yellowy green part, at the edge of the heliosphere. This is not Earth you're looking at here, it's the whole solar system. Scientists don't understand these recent changes and don't know what to expect. NASA scientist Dave McComas said, "This is shocking. We had no idea this ribbon existed or what has created it. Our previous ideas about the outer heliosphere are going to have to be revised. Theorists are working like crazy to figure this out." And here's a June 2010 NASA press release. NASA keeps a wary eye on space weather. Earth and space are about to come into contact in a way that's new to human history. In the next few years, we expect to see much higher levels of solar activity. The National Academy of Sciences issues a warning. And in 2010, Lloyds of London, the world's leading insurance market, warned that coronal mass ejections, solar flares, solar wind, solar radiation, and magnetic storms could damage satellite communications, high-frequency radio communications, national power grids, and pipelines. So, it's obvious from many angles that this is a time of significant change. The electrifying events in space are being followed closely by people such as independent British science writer Susan Joy Renison, with an honours degree in physics and geophysics from a British university, who is a popular speaker in Europe on the topic of space weather. Renison is the author of Tuning the Diamonds, Electromagnetism and Spiritual Evolution, in which she draws connections between ancient prophecies based on cosmic cycles and Earth's dramatically changing electromagnetics. She cites transient luminous phenomena, atmospheric electrical phenomena, solar winds, and everything from radio waves to extreme gamma rays and high-energy charged particles. Renison says we're being increasingly exposed to the whole spectrum of unusual electromagnetic energies. including light pillars in lower altitudes, seismic activity, unusual cloud formations, and auroras. These uncommon electromagnetic phenomena are flooding us with new frequencies of light that are waking us up, jolting us out of our stupor, prodding us to take charge of our future. Renison calls this time a planetary refresh and an upgrade. Here's a solar flare, an explosion of ultraviolet light and magnetically charged particles. In March 2012, NASA recorded the strongest ever eruption, 1,000 times stronger than the sun's steady output. With 30 to 50 solar flares a day, this is a lot of new light shining on us. Renison believes the public should be made more aware of celestial events and their effects. NASA is legally bound to inform the public about what's going on in space, but their announcements tend to come when people are busy and distracted, like 2 weeks before Christmas. Perhaps the biggest ever elephant in the room is the possibility that suns and stars are conscious and intelligent, not just a convenient, steady source of illumination. Popular author Gregory Sams insists that the sun is much smarter than we think. He writes, "Many people consider our sun to be little more than a giant light bulb in the sky. But sun is a massive multi-leveled powerhouse with regular patterns that scientists are unable to explain or understand. Sun has a complexity that we would in most circumstances associate with an intelligent being." Gregory Sams challenges old scientifically and religiously correct views. He believes that all of life is conscious and intelligent. Photons, electrons, plasma, plants, animals, oceans, planets, stars, and suns. Many visionaries and scientists agree that consciousness and intelligence are aspects of life itself and not limited to life forms having physical material brains. Renison cites plasma that looks like balls of light, also known as orbs. Plasma is a state of matter similar to gas, which contains charged particles. Orb-like things have been seen whizzing by the space shuttle in NASA film footage, and one scientist says there's a zoo of plasma entities in our upper atmosphere. Renison says the natives of Australia communicated with such light orbs. And telepathic communication with orbs was also featured in Ringing Cedars, a recent Russian book series based on a small Vedic community in Siberia. We have a lot to learn about orbs and suns, our own sun and the trillions of others, and about the powerful, intelligent energy we call light. When a solar flare leaves the sun about 150 million kilometers away, its magnetic energy reaches Earth in about 8.5 minutes. An electromagnetic impact we absorb without even knowing it. We're also being blasted by magnetars, a form of neutron star from far beyond our solar system. Magnetars emit as much energy in 1/10 of a second as our sun provides in 100,000 years. Magnetars have extremely powerful magnetic fields, which produce high-energy radiation, particularly X-rays and gamma rays. NASA scientist Pete Woods described magnetars as solar flares on steroids. The Vedic seers called these powerful electromagnetic energies celestial fire. We could think of them as a high-speed chi delivery system. In 1973, astronomer Carl Sagan determined that cosmic rays affect our DNA and are responsible for changes in human evolution. Sagan identified a distant neutron star, a magnetar, as the probable source of these rays. The picture on the bottom here is Cassiopeia, home to a magnetar being studied by NASA.